Brought to you by Charity Mobile, the phone company that supports life and family. 5% of your monthly plan price goes to your favorite charity. Buy the way you believe at CharityMobile.com and use promo code TRADITION.
Francis has been very active lately. Francis has been very active in filling out the vacant seats in the American episcopate. Among the bishops in the United States, there have been a great many vacancies, a great number of bishops who are beyond the age of retirement who are still serving in their dioceses because there's no one to replace them. We learned last fall, right after the presidential election, that there was a meeting between Robert McElroy, Blaise Cupich, and Joseph Tobin, I believe it was, in Rome with Francis. And the subject was the American election and what to do about those vacant seats. They were linked together. And now we have more stories of either friends of Cardinal Cupich or his creations themselves, his own former auxiliary bishops, being given promotions. They are remaking the American church in the image and likeness of Cardinal Cupich. So the first of these, this will sting for some people. Headline from LifeSite: Pope Francis replaces Archbishop Naumann with bishop who opposed banning so-called Catholic politicians who support the sacrifice to Moloch from communion. Pope Francis accepted the resignation of staunch anti-Moloch Archbishop Naumann and is replacing him with Bishop Sean McKnight, who opposed a prohibition on communion for these anti-Catholic politicians. Bishop McKnight is a creature of Cardinal Cupich. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's simply the truth. I remember posting this on X yesterday. Another creature of Cupich. People are like, how could you say that? Well, all you have to do is look at his track record here, and you'll see that he is a fellow traveler with Cardinal Cupich. Here are the details from LifeSite. Quote, Pope Francis accepted the resignation of Kansas City Archbishop Joseph Naumann today and named Bishop Sean McKnight of Jefferson City as his replacement, according to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. Archbishop Naumann offered his resignation upon turning 75 years old last June, as is customary. His replacement comes shortly after he spent the last few weeks battling against Satanists who wanted to host a blasphemous black mass in the state capitol building. The devil has no power over us, he wrote in the Archdiocesan online media site, The Leaven. Let us throw the devil back into his natural state of confusion and despair by celebrating the beauty and joy of God's merciful, faithful love. He also celebrated a packed mass the same day as a sacrilegious event, with around 400 people attending, as previously reported by LifeSite News. The faithful prelate has been an outspoken voice for the most vulnerable and most young. He previously chaired the USCCB's committee on basically defending the most vulnerable. While Archbishop Naumann has been a strong opponent of allowing politicians to support the sacrifice to Moloch to receive Holy Communion, McKnight has taken a different stance. In 2021, the Jefferson City bishop signed a letter urging the USCCB to halt discussion of prohibiting the Eucharist to those politicians who want that evil practice to be legal and are Catholic. To change hearts and minds, we cannot merely threaten punishment, McKnight wrote at the time. The Holy Father has placed a counter, dialogue, honesty, collaboration at the heart of his approach to public conversation, not confrontation or threats, and as repeatedly indicated, he is not in favor of using the Eucharist as a means to discipline politicians. It's incredible. This man is incredible. It's truly incredible how brazen they are with this, especially this next part here. Quote, that year, McKnight falsely claimed that Catholics have a moral responsibility to get the solution to the 2020 affliction and directed priests not to grant religious exemptions to request for that solution, which have been linked to, of course, all manner of evil. McKnight also caused an uproar on social media when he released guidelines for the reverent celebration of Holy Mass, which included reiterating the USCCB's opposition to some well-known but possibly heretical hymns, such as All Are Welcome. The USCCB had previously determined these hymns were insufficient and sound doctrine and prohibited based on credible accusations of evil things against the composer, referring to allegations against composers David Haas, Cesaro Gabaran, and Ed Conlon. After backlash from liberals last October, he announced the Diocese of Jefferson City would have a year-long synodal discussion about music and the liturgy. End quote. This is the man who is now replacing Archbishop Naumann, one of the better ones. He's a creature of Cupich, without question. And to a lesser degree, we have another one. He's not exactly a creature of Cupich. There's no direct connection between them except one event, and that was an award given. by Cupich to this man here, but we go this to our Sunday Visitor News headline: Pope Francis appoints new Bishop of Providence. Bishop Bruce Lewandowski is introduced to the Diocese of Providence, Rhode Island, at a media conference April 8th. Pope Francis appointed the bishop to the head of the Diocese of Providence, which has a total population of 1.09 million Catholic people, of which about 600,000 are Catholic. This is another one, another Bergoglian. They are moving rapidly to fill the ranks of the bishops in the United States, the vacancies, and there are plenty of those vacancies. This is what's coming. It's actually, I think, a sign that Francis knows he has limited time left, because the United States, for whatever reason, is a stumbling block to the Bergoglians. You have the most traditionally minded Catholics here, except maybe France per capita, but in raw numbers, it's the United States. It's where your voices are publicly opposing them. And it's where a lot of bishops are just a little too conservative in the post-conciliar sense for what they want to do to the Catholic Church. And so now they're moving to replace them. The loss of Archbishop Naumann is bad. Very, very bad. I see a super chat from Faust. Thank you very much. I have a theory that Christ may have chosen Judas specifically to show a bad priest doesn't disprove his church. His church, hail to Christ the King. Yes, Judas is clearly a cautionary tale for every bishop and every priest, and for the laity to recognize that, yes, there will be bad priests in the flock, or there will be bad shepherds, and that you don't leave the church because of bad shepherds. Bad shepherds, if they don't repent, then Judas's ultimate fate is pretty obvious for everybody. But this is what they're facing, and we're getting the spiritual children of Judas Iscariot here. That is clear. But I'm curious what you think about this. Are you surprised to the slightest by stories like this one? Does it surprise you when you see because these aren't the only ones recently. There were a few other bishops made who are all connected in some way, directly or by small degrees of separation, from Cardinal Cupich. They are filling the vacancies with like-minded men. Bishop Lewandowski is a big proponent of, a big ally to Cardinal Robert McElroy on migration. They are spiritual children. They are spiritual brethren together on this. So let me just give you a little detail on that. From the article, quote, "The bishop often smiled as he spoke of his philosophy of leadership, getting closer to the people he serves, and joked about how those he encountered often stumble over the pronunciation of his last name, pronounced Lewandowski, leading many to call him Bishop Bruce. I'm so thrilled to be here, and I never expected to be coming to such a beautiful place. I'm very grateful," said Bishop Lewandowski, who has served in New York, Philadelphia, St. Lucia, West Indies, and Baltimore. He then briefly spoke in fluent Spanish, shedding some tears. "I'll find even greater beauty in the people that make up this wonderful diocese," he said. Bishop Lewandowski offered his gratitude to retired Providence Bishop Thomas J. Tobin and former Archbishop Auxiliary Bishop Robert C. Evans for the pastoral support they've given him, and also expressed his appreciation to the Holy Father for the trust and confidence placed in him through this appointment. He recalled meeting Pope Francis during a bishop's orientation course in Rome. "He let me hug him. It was just a memorable moment," he said, asking for prayers for the pontiff's health. Since 2020, Bishop Lewandowski has served as Auxiliary Bishop of Baltimore, as well as Vicar for Hispanic Catholics and Vicar for Baltimore City for the Archdiocese of Baltimore. He thanked Archbishop William E. Laurie of Baltimore for his friendship and guidance for the past 5 years that he has served there. "It has truly been a blessing in my life to have served in the Archdiocese of Baltimore." On April 8th, Archbishop Laurie told Catholic Review, the publishing arm of the Archdiocese of Baltimore, "Although we shall all keenly miss his presence and ministry of Bishop Lewandowski in our midst, it must be said that Pope Francis could not have chosen a better bishop for the Diocese of Providence. Throughout his service here in the Archdiocese of Baltimore, Bishop Lewandowski served the people of God with zeal, fidelity, and love." And he goes on to talk about synodality and all the rest of it. Bishop Lewandowski was very active on the migration issue. Very, very, very active. He's a fellow traveler and ally to Robert McElroy. These decisions are being made with the current presidential administration in mind, at least in part. It's amazing. And they're moving very quickly. I expect to be talking to you next week or the week after about more appointments to the U.S. bishops, because there were something like 24 of them retired or should have been retired. But you know who's still sitting there, despite being of the age to retire? Cardinal Cupich. He's 76 years old. Mandatory retirement age for a bishop is 75. Now, of course, it's mandatory with the asterisk. The on their birthday, their 75th birthday, they submit a letter of resignation to the Holy Father. The Holy Father could choose to accept it or not. Cupich submitted it to Francis. Francis just sat on the letter because Cupich is one of his best allies in America. I'm curious, though, what you think about this. So let me know in the comments, please. Pray for these bishops. Again, I'm not here trying to rile you up about them. Pray for them. And when it comes to Robert McElroy, pray for justice. And pray that the truth emerges on all the things coming out about Robert McElroy. Let me know what you think about this all in the comments, please. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It certainly helps. So does sharing this on social media. That helps too. And as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.